Hello guys, this is Kazrahim bringing you another tank review. This time because it was proposed, we're gonna go over, this week we're gonna go over the Tiger, and the next week will be the King Tiger. So, the tank for today is the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Tiger auf E, probably, because the single light was known for the E part. This was the first incantation that fought in Rommel's forces in Africa. But let's go back to the tank itself. So this is a tier 7 heavy battle on the German line leading towards the E100, which has great vehicles like the Tiger H, because this is his name, specifically because of the hedge scale design, not the one that we have on the order. Let's just see. Henschel company. As it's stated, it was started in 1937, so way before the war. But mass production began in the 42, so that's why. And only 1,354 were built? Yeah, maybe that's true. I'm not sure. I don't wanna like historically state what Wargaming says. So going back to the vehicle, it's, as I said, a tier 7 heavy tank. The first heavy tank that you get on that line. It's situated over, let's just go through the research. Over here. We can see it's on the same level as the Tiger P, and actually Tiger P leads to this. The Tiger P is basically the same vehicle. Well, not the same vehicle per se. It's a Tiger, but of a different design that lost in the competition between this one and this one. The Tiger P is just short for Porsche, because Ferdinand Porsche actually thought that's a good idea to make tanks. So yeah, not only 1911s but also tanks. So we have the Tiger H, as told in the game. The tank has 1,450 hit points, which is quite a lot for a tier 7 heavy vehicle, cause most tanks don't get that kind of HP pool. But that's the main feature of the Germans. They get a little bit more HP because the armor was lacking. So you can compare the IS-2 fully upgraded has only 1,280, while the Tiger P had 1,450. So weight 57 tons, fully loaded without equipment, and fully researched. 870 horsepower engine, giving us a positive speed, a positive acceleration. It's a good weight to ton ratio for a heavy tank, but it's not great. It's not very mobile. It's just plainly good. The Tiger was early on in World of Tanks one of the tanks that actually had very good speed compared to heavy tanks. Speed limit is 30. That I think was lowered because the actual Tiger had 35 or 34 actual speed limit, so it could go a little bit faster. 24 traverse speed with a turret traverse speed of 23, so a combined traverse speed of 47, so that's not much, but then again it should be enough. It doesn't feel all that sluggish. Armor, which is the main thing that people are complaining about. The Tiger's armor from the front, and both stats are just for the hull and the turret are the same. 100 in the front, 82 in the sides, and 82 in the back. What this means is the Tiger is very weakly armored. The IS-2 has more armor because of its sloping than the Tiger, which is front just plainly flat. There is a tiny slope, but this tank was still the old German design where the Germans didn't think of. They have not encountered T-34s which used the design of sloped armor to increase the effective armor efficiency. So the Tiger was plainly, it had amazing armor in its times. It was one of the most feared and most renowned and most known tanks in World War II history. But That's mainly because the moment when it was introduced in the 32, in 42, it fought against KV-1s, it fought against T-34s, so those tanks were not able to effectively fight a Tiger and Shermans. Those tanks had just amazing problems dealing with this tank, and we're gonna get to why. So armor is quite weak in the front. Most tier 7 guns will not have problems penetrating you. The biggest flaw and thing you have to take care of is this gigantic lower plate, which is covered up by this track piece. What this means is it's quite easy to hit a place when it actually doesn't have even 100 armor. And to make it worse, as we know from German tanks have a frontally mounted transmission, and I don't know why, but Wargaming thinks it's a good idea that transmission can catch fire. From what I remember, the Tiger actually had some tanks over here, so maybe that would be the reason why you can grab fire, but by shooting straightly frontally in the main hull you can get fire, and you can see clearly there's one hatch of the radio man, radio operator, and the driver. So this actually goes into all of the not steering, all of the equipment that is used to drive the tank and start it up and such. Maybe there is a tank over there, I actually don't know, I don't remember. The sides are quite well armored, 82 on the side. If you think it's weak, cause if you're shooting frontally then it's less armored than the 100, but then again, the Tiger is one of the best vehicles in the game to introduce something you do like this. Side scraping and angling your armor. This armor can walk when you start to side scrape. If you give people an angle like this to shoot you, this armor will be more than enough to bounce everything that comes into you. And the gun mantlet actually, while it seems it only has 100mm of armor, that's this part. Not talking about a gun mantlet. The gun mantlet actually can take up shots. There are weak spots. This little hole over here is a weak spot. It's a place for the coaxial machine gun. And this one over here is some kind of a side, I think, or something. It also is a weak spot. You can get through that. So you can, I would highly advise side scraping and using, even if you fight someone head on, just angling your armor a little bit like this. The more you give, then this part of your hull becomes more profound, it's easier to hit, so just something like this. You will still have difficulties bouncing from the front, but it's better than nothing, let's say it like that. So let's go further. 370 view range, so quite standard for vehicles of this tier. Even I would say good. And 710 view radio range. Of course I don't know why, but I didn't have the radio. Do I have everything mounted? Yeah. Now, let's go into the most important feature of the Tiger, at least for me. And if you guys came from Panthers, from the Tiger P, from all of the other tanks that use the 88mm gun, the long gun, because there's no contest, this is the best gun on the Tiger. The 8.8 centimeter KWK 43L71 gun. It's the long 88, which was actually, I think, not introduced in the Tiger, but in the Tiger 2, historically. They tried to mount it, but it was just plainly too big. But I'm not sure of that, so don't take my words for granted. This gun is one of the best tier 7 guns that you can get, just purely by its penetration, damage, fire potential, and accuracy. What does that mean? That means that if you compare it to something, while the Russians don't have a very good gun, let's say, but let's compare it, this is roughly the Russian equivalent of a tier 7 heavy tank gun. You can see the caliber is 88, because obviously against 122, which Russians prefer the higher caliber guns. Rate of fire is 1.5 times better. 5 seconds almost against 7 seconds. So yeah, almost 1.5 times. 203 penetration against 175. Good penetration on tier 7. That roughly allows you to fight tier 8s. And even poke some tier 9s if you try to. Against that 175, which I think is enough on tier 7, but it starts to lack on tier 8. Of course, the gold penetration on the target is not that good, but the IS gold penetration is substantially better than anything else. 300mm of penetration, that's just plainly stupid. 240 average damage against 390, that's obviously because the target has a higher rate of fire, so it gets a little bit less damage per minute by lowering its average damage pool. It's quite enough. You feel that your shot are a little bit lacking, but only if you didn't go through the German line starting. If you didn't go through the Germans at the start, then you feel that you have some kind of a disadvantage towards other people. 0.34 accuracy, which is awesome, and the target behaves like it's 0.2 or 0.32, 31, something more like that. Again, 0.46, which after 8.6 is quite actually accurate, but then the guns like the Tiger's gun become laser pointed. And 2.9 aiming time, which is quite substantial, but for the Tiger it works okay-ish, because it's a heavy tank. But medium tanks with this gun are plainly bad, like the Indian Panzer, the Panther II, those tanks get this gun and they cannot walk it like the Tiger does. So I would say great gun, great choice of gun. My loadout, you can see I only load AP ammo, I don't need APCR, because roughly 30 more penetration, what does that give me? That gives me opportunity against tier 9s, but 90% of the time I don't even try to fight tier 9s in this tank. I didn't try, because I haven't been playing it for a long time. Crew is made of 5 people. We have the commander, the gunner, driver, radio operator and loader. My crew skills recommendation: start off with repairs as for all heavy tanks. Once you reach 100% in the first skill and 50-60% in the second skill, so you can like waste 10,000 or 20,000 credits and get 90% off what you already grinded to while dropping, I would get broadening arms. Then the second skill would be again repairs, and then for the second change would be broadening arms and specific skills for everyone, like Sixth Sense, like what has the gunner? Snapshot, I'm guessing. Skills. Yeah, snapshot, clutch braking, radio operator, situation awareness and safe stowage. The driver also is not a bad idea, since you're gonna go up the German line. To get him, preservative maintenance, to just ensure a little less fire. Because it really helps on the German tanks, they really get light up on fire quite easily. It's almost like as bad as the KV-1S. So that would be the crew skills. Equipment on this tank, even though I have none, because I moved all of my equipment and I didn't rebought it, I moved it all to the IS2. Improved vents, large caliber gun tank rammer, those are a no-brainer. Take them always and at all times. I would go for a toolbox if you have a stock Tiger. If you have a toolbox lying around, just get that, buy one. It's really a good idea to help out your stock tanks if you cannot afford full equipment right off the bat for the tank. So that would be a start. Some people like heavy spoiliners, because this is quite a good arty target, but myself I don't use them at all. Maybe on the E100, maybe on, you know, very big and slow tanks I will consider it. Some people like to give even this, fuel tanks with CO2, which gives you fuel tank no, not this, where's that? Oh, there's no more, it doesn't change that. There was an equipment, I think there was an equipment piece that actually lowered the percentage of fires. But, yeah, no, doesn't matter. And my personal selection would be on this tank to get either the enhanced gun laying drive to get better aiming time or coated optics. Eventually, if you're really more into sniping, into supporting, like a lot of people say, binocular telescope, just to be in that second line and shoot from that second line. Some people like to go like with camouflage net, binoculars and rammer, just supporting from the third line, but I prefer to be in the thick of the battle, even while it gets me killed a lot, but then again I prefer to be there to do something. Choice of ammunition, as I said, I personally prefer using only AP. You can have like 5 shells of APCR and then 1 to 3 shells from high explosive just for those decaps. Equipment in terms of consumables, if you have a lot of credits lying around, automatic fire extinguisher is not a bad idea, but you're gonna use it a lot, and this tank will turn into a credit eater instead of grinder, because I actually was grinding credits with this while I was playing this. So first of all, my manual fire extinguisher if you want to be cheap, small repair kit and small first aid kit, so quite the average. Quite the average setup. So just to show you what we're talking about, Panzerkampfwagen Tiger. 279 battles, so almost 280. 53% win ratio, and this is one of my first tier 7 tanks, so you can see the comparison. This tank was one of the first tanks I got on tier 7, while this tank was something that I got recently, and you can see my stats are way better on the IS, just plainly damage and stuff like that is way better. But the Tiger, if I played it now, I would be grinding it. It would be way better. Like, this was the first tank I got. And you can see I didn't even accomplish an ice tanker in it, while I have one in the Tiger. Just before the game, let's just talk a little bit about the playstyle. Oh no, let's go into the game and we'll talk about it in the game. So let's go. So here we have the game. We're playing on Live Oaks in our Tiger. It's a heavy tier 7 battle. And I wanted to show you it because I actually didn't play a lot in the Tiger recently, just for doing this replay. But I wanted to show you a situation where I'm facing off a lot of heavy tanks, and while I think I had some side scraping done here, some angling, some flanking. You can see the Tiger speed isn't that good, like the T-29 is faster than we are and he has way more armor in his turret and a way better gun. But the Tiger is one of the 2 first tier 7 heavy tanks introduced in the game, so cut him some slack. He's a oldie but goodie. It's one of my personal just the one of the tanks that I have a sweet spot for always. You saw I took a wild shot at the T-29 without aiming, and I actually hit him because I saw he was turning his turret around to get me. And now this kind of positioning, if I actually go out of this mode, no I won't. We have to wait. First of all, the IS is a dumb shit driver, cause he plainly just disallowed me to do anything, but look how I'm positioned at the moment. Unfortunately I have no zoom out mode, but look at the angle, you see? Like the tip of this corner is the tip of my tank. They are in one surface and then starts the side of my tank. So if anything comes from over there, it will go roughly into an 80-90%, 70-80% angle and bounce. Only the shots angled at the end of the tank maybe will have a little bit more luck. But I'm not showing my lower plate, but I'm able to point my gun at them already. You can see the gun aims roughly at the edge of your tank. So if someone can shoot here or at your commander's hatch, but it's just hard for them. So let's continue on. And you can see me doing this little motion over here. I'm just taking precautions. I know how to play in this kind of situation with the Tiger. Now I'm gonna go forward a little bit because I'm seeing that we don't have a lot of enemies, and IS again fucking bumps me. Congrats to the IS driver. Let's shout out to Mr... I don't know what's his name. What's your name? Kadetka. So yeah, even better. Probably a girl that's Polish. Or rather a guy who thinks that he will be treated better because he got himself a woman's name. Just waiting. This game was quite slowish at the start. You can see there's only like 4 of us over here. And unfortunately I didn't look to get a hit on this guy. Put one in the lower plate of the T-29 without a problem. As I said, this gun is highly accurate with very good gun precision, so you can get amazing shots out. Now I bounce a Tiger cause his shot went wide and hit my side instead of the frontal plate, while my shot goes also wide but it goes exactly into him. Now he hits my track, I shoot back roughly where he was, and I think I actually hit with this hit. A good instigation of what you should do with the Tiger, and with all tier 7 heavies, is roughly about 2000 damage. If you do 2000 damage with your tanks, you should be able to get good scores. The Tiger is quite difficult to get amazing scores, because it really requires a lot of good playstyle, but I think it's a tank worth just spending the time to learn, because it's awesome. This guy had luck with shooting me while on the move and doing damage to me. Now you can look where we got hit. Actually he hit right in the track going into the hull, so quite lucky for him. Normally that wouldn't do damage. But now he completely ignores me. I put one hit into him, looking. I'm going forward, but notice that I'm like always looking at him, waiting. I know I have a faster reload than he has. Kill him off. Now stop, wait for his IS. Maybe thinking of side scraping. Yep, I'm thinking of side scraping. Allowing him to shoot my back. Put one into him. The penetration is more than enough to handle this guy. Thank you, Mr. T-29. And I killed the IS. Probably my fault because I moved forward. But then again, this guy didn't do no damage in the whole game. He just damaged me. So you can see we won the city. Now we're proceeding into what we think is the enemy team left. We have a Tiger and our AMX. Now I think I'm gonna actually leave the Tiger to its fate. The IS is fighting the Tiger or not. So yeah, the Tiger, you have to like think of it of a second row. More of a medium tank, per se. The medium tank mindset actually would work with the Tiger. You can see the armor on this tank is butter. If you're not angling yourself, he is angled, but 200mm of penetration are way more than enough to go through the frontal plate of the Tiger without a problem. Now he's hitting himself. So you would have to think more of the Tiger like of a medium. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more in the garage.
Enemy armor is damaged.
That was actually a little bit stupid of me. I should have driven in here right already positioned the correct way. So all the rest, this game is over already, so let's just go into the garage. So here we are back after the battle. So just to go over a few points that come into mind, and I didn't want to like hold you in that battle. The Tiger, you can play it like a medium tank. It's a little bit slow for the role, but it has a good gun and it doesn't have armor. You can try to go hull down with it, but it's not 100% good way. You can be successful with it, no questions about it, but the Tiger has a very big hull, so it will most likely show 90% of the time, plus your commander's hat is quite a profound weak spot. So I would actually advise, with the playstyle of the Tiger, being cautious, not being necessarily in the third line or in the base camping, waiting for something to happen. No, be offensive but cautious. Go around corners, try to flank. Even though you might think, well, this is a heavy tank, Kaz, what the hell are you suggesting, that I should flank with it? Yes, I'm suggesting exactly that. It has 30 kilometers per hour, but it is able. If your team is fighting, just use that and try to go around. You don't have to be close to your enemies. I'm not saying flank right. Here's a tank, there's a tank, you come around this, and you flank this guy and shoot him from over here. You can go like a million kilometers away and your gun still will be able to dish out damage on your tiers. Against tier 7s and lower, you're quite a difficult opponent for them. Below tier 6, tier 7, actually people will have problems with your armor and you will be able to bully them. Of course, don't take that for granted, don't be too offensive. Don't think that your armor will struggle, it won't struggle against other tanks. Just be aware that you should be more of a bully if you're in the top tier. Mid tiers, when you're tier 7, tier 8, I would advise sticking to your heavies and trying to side script a lot, trying to go hull down. And also angling, that's like a no-brainer. But also using one big advantage, that's like staying in the second line, like allowing your heavies, your tier 8s to get hit while you just poke around while the other guy shoots and shoot the guy that is shooting your guys. Just taking a little bit of time aiming for those weak spots. This gun is as accurate as it gets on this tier, so really aim for the weak spots, you're gonna get them. Also on on low tier battles, when you are lowest and there's tier 9, tier 8 battle, then also try to be the second, third flank. Second, third row of tanks. Don't go head to head with anything, cause you're just gonna plainly lose. Most tanks on tier 8 and above will plainly penetrate you from everywhere. Just try to think of how you want to support your team. Maybe think out of the box. Maybe try going where your mediums are going. If they're quite slow, if you have very fast mediums like types, like AMXs and stuff like that, those fast tanks, then don't go with them because you're gonna be the one that stays behind. But just trying to get this mindset for this tank is quite difficult, but if you get it good, it's a quite rewarding and quite awesome tank. And as I said, I love my Tiger. It's one of the most known tanks. It's one of those tanks that people start playing World of Tanks for, and just because they want to play the Tiger. And a lot of people think it's a great disappointment. It's not. It's not. It's a really great tank, and after it you get this, the King Tiger, which is by far one of my favorite tier 8 vehicles in the game. It's just so awesome. I have so good memories of playing this tank, and I played it so much I was so happy for playing it. Even stock with the Tiger's gun, it was just plainly awesome. So, also, like, the last thing I'm gonna say, my advice for people who start off with this tank: you're gonna get the short 88 gun, you're gonna get this gun, you're gonna get this turret, you're not gonna have this engine, I think. Yeah, and I think correctly. Let's just go into the research part. I think you're gonna get this engine. This is the last engine from the 3601H. Yep, there it is. Or maybe even this. Oh yeah. So you're gonna start off with... oh god. With this radio, with this engine, this gun, and that's it. First of all, grab the tracks, because mobility is key. and they will increase your load limit. Then aim for the turret and the gun, and then for the engine. With this gun in this turret, you're gonna struggle to play good with the target, especially since you won't have the acceleration and the mobility I have now. This turret is a game changer for this tank, because it actually can take shots from the front. And this gun changes the tank. This makes the tank, it's what it is. But this gun, it has a very lowish penetration, you have to take mind of it. And that's gonna be your main problem. Because this gun, while it has a little bit more penetration, it has way lower alpha damage. And I don't know if I would suggest it, honestly. It's gonna be difficult. I prefer to have that stronger punch, especially in a Tiger, which won't be able to go around. You can try to simulate being a Churchill or something like that with this gun, just going around corner and poo shooting people, but I wouldn't advise it. Just try to be the second, third row, try to support your guys. This will be more profound once you get those things, but just bear with this struggle. It's a real struggle on those two things for most people. I actually didn't struggle that much, but just mind you, this is not the worst grind that you can have. Believe me, the worst grind that you will have on this line is over here. Because this tank is awesome, is beyond comparison to anything else if it's fully upgraded. You can see I still don't have it fully upgraded, but without this, without this engine and those tracks, this tank is so shit. It's slower than a mouse. It has the gun of tier 8. Yet it's basically there's no competition. But that's it, guys. I hope you liked the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it will it will give you new ideas how to use the Tiger, or get you into the German heavy line. And I'll see you guys next time. Check out my Facebook, because I'm gonna be posting some pictures of scale models that I'm building, including the Tiger. So, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.